Welcome back to another episode of Queued Up. We have a lot to talk about. We have content creator tournaments. We have our regular seasons closing as we head towards MSI and EWC. Joining with me today are Justin, Eli, and Davis. How y'all doing?
Really good, man.
Fantastic.
Good. Oh, we had a lot of fun over the week and weekend. Some good games, some not good games, but we will start off with one. C9 is still undefeated right now against FlyQuest, and it probably was one of my favorite games of the weekend because it was pretty close on both ends. Highs and lows for both teams, but C9 pulls it out.
They did. I mean, it was kind of dire straits at one point. I had a good laugh after the series. Dom tweeted out that he can't wait to see what kind of video FlyQuest comes out with after this one. Since they hate all the co-streamers, Dom is definitely on their bad side. So.
Yeah, this one I felt like FlyQuest honestly should have won this, or like they at least had an opportunity. They stomped game one. They were ahead in kills in game two, even despite a goal disadvantage. But they had like ways to close out the game. They just, I don't know. C9 kind of out-macroed them, it felt like. And then game three wasn't all that close. So
I was really impressed from Ghost. I thought he played really, really well against Thanatos. Thanatos has been one of the best top laners in the league, and he really played well against him. He did have some help from Griffin at times, but regardless, he definitely played a good series, and I was impressed with his work.
Yeah, they definitely went to shut down Thanatos, but Thanatos did save game number 2 for them. He got a good kill on Masu, or a good flank under that mid tower that kind of allowed C9 to get back into the game. Unfortunately, it would be FlyQuest, nailing their own coffin with that Baron push that was a little too overzealous at the end. That kind of allowed C9 to get that last push to end it. But Thanatos definitely, his score wasn't really indicative of how well he actually played some of the fights. Game 3, though, was just kind of a stomp all around. But again, this FlyQuest team has taken a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah, 100%. They look really good. And the one thing that I think that needs to improve from this series that I look at is Quad. I think Quad's a player that we've talked about is one of the veterans on the team, and they need him to really step up and play well, especially in these big games when it's like you're playing Cloud9 or Liquid, the teams at the top of the league. He's got to be the one that like steps up and has a solid floor. He can't go below that floor, and I think he was below that floor in the series, and that hurt him.
Mid lane seems to be like a pretty tough spot right now for a lot of players to take over and super dominate. I feel like Saint's really the only one who seems like he can really just like fully punch through a game by himself. I don't know what it is with the meta. Like, there are a lot of weird champions being played. We saw the TF with Hui. But even the very common ones are tough. Like, Annie seems to be a one that's very unreliable to win with. It's a tough meta right now for mids.
I feel like his way has been pretty good. That game, it was a little iffy.
Weird.
The whole comp was just kind of interesting. Again, it's the Jhin, man. They picked the Jhin again. They like it. And I feel like everyone else hates it.
They love it. Like is an understatement. They love that pick. I think that's Masu's favorite champion. Like, if it's open, he's like, pick me Jhin.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good with it.
He is good with it.
But just compare to what you're going to get for the team. Like, freaking C9 had Corky Nami, and you have Jhin Bard. Like, I just don't think that's really reliable. What you're getting from that FlyQuest bot lane isn't as reliable as the Corky Nami.
That's true. They're more consistently solid. I would say Griffin's Dr. Mundo left a little to be desired as well. This is a champion that like kind of dominated towards the end of last year and even in lock-in split a little bit, but just hasn't been as effective. I would love to see Griffin on more engaged champions, like the Pantheon. Of course, he was...
That Jarvan he had in game 2.
Yeah, the Jarvan. Like, we know he's capable of more. I like the Shin, too, in game 1. Which surprised me he pulled it out in game 1, to be honest. That's usually like a game 3 kind of pick for him. But yeah, Dr. Mundo, less than desirable.
The play wasn't there. I don't mind the pick, though. I think into like a TF and a Sejuani, it seems like a pretty solid pick. He can just ignore so much of their CC, but got to step up and make the play.
To be fair, he's also been a much better tank player than Gakos has been. So you put him on some of these tank picks, and he's been absolutely smashing on them. The Nasus, the Mundo,
the Shin.
EWC, the Shin, and then allows Gakos to play like the Anivia top, which wasn't horrible. It wasn't the best. This whole game just wasn't the best by them, though. So it's kind of like, okay, was it the picks or just kind of their play into this game 3? And obviously, once again, it's that experience from the younger team, just not enough to overcome the veteran of the C9 team right now. And unfortunately, they lose. C9, though, stays undefeated going into week number 7. They have a tough pick, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But another team who was undefeated, though, but couldn't keep their streak is Team Liquid. They lost Lyon.
Yeah, Team Liquid, I don't know. I kind of expected Lyon to win this. It feels like Lyon's getting more comfortable in general. I really like the Gragas pick from Morgan. I think that was a really strong response to the Jace. I was a little concerned about it at first, but like he actually made that lane really difficult for Dokla. We also saw the Castle Rise top lane this series, which
First time ever.
First time ever,
First
right?
time career.
Which I never thought of Rise as like a flex pick, but I don't know. It didn't really work, so I don't know if we'll see it again either.
First game on a new team, on a new champion.
Yeah,
it wasn't a great result.
Rise is definitely, though, someone
That's
that
interesting.
He's been flexed mid to top pretty.
He has before.
Pretty, like, through the years. It hasn't been done in a long time.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because he was so good in mid. I don't particularly hate it, but I feel like there are better counters to Rumble than the Rise. That's not really the one where I pick. I feel like I'd want one where the Rise can bully somebody a little more.
I was kind of upset because that was my pick for quad for fantasy, and they pick it, and then they start flexing it. I'm just like,
what's going on here?
Just please put it. He's been really good on it, and then you have to wonder. I forgot if they had talked about it. I watched the pros, and I can't quite remember off of like a lot of the other stuff that they were talking about. It was a little more interesting on if it was something they had practiced maybe with Dokla ahead of time, and then it's something that they want to pick for this, but then they had already subbed in Castle, so they're just like, we're just going to throw it on him. Maybe he does well, maybe he doesn't.
I mean,
we'll have to see.
The overall, through all 3 games here, the top lane picks for Lyon, it would be what I would consider be extremely non-reliable, high variance picks. I mean, you had Jace, Rise, and Anivia. Like, we're not playing tanks at all, which is just crazy, man. I feel like if I've inspired
It's
my
like
jungler,
all Dokla kind of good picks there. It's all across it.
and honestly, if that's the way you want to play, I understand the management move of bringing in somebody like Castle to potentially replace Dokla, because those 3 champions, I think I'd rather have Castle playing them.
Yeah, you just get a little more used to it.
I was impressed, which they've been good. They're probably the best bot lane in the league anyway, Isles and Berserker. But that's where I think the matchup was really like settled, because that's also been the highlight of Team Liquid right now is Jan and Core JJ. They've been playing really good too. So I was interested to see that matchup, but Lions just showed the levels to it, and they kind of just ran over them pretty much in every game. The second game, not as good, but it's not like they got stomped. So
yeah, Saint's been showing on the he's on a tear. He's been showing the level I think people want to see him on it. Of course, we got some really funny comms out this week in between Inspired and Saint. Saint are Inspired in that second game, going through almost the match replay when they felt it was over, and then the Saint telling him to shut up. But I mean, Saint, if his mechanics are starting to pick up, I do agree with Inspired a little bit on that. Maybe Saint should be picking up some of the shot calling as well. If he is going to start leading a lot of these fights, if he is going to start being this, high variance, high kill profile player that he can be, and he's picking up a little bit. Now he just needs to get a little bit more comms in there and see how it goes.
Well, let's not just breeze over the shut up moment. So they're losing, obviously, and Inspired is trying to coach mid-game or say what he should have done differently. And I kind of agree with Saint here. Bro, just wait till the game's over. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it was kind of funny that they played that on air, Saint telling him to shut up in the middle of a conversation mid-game.
To be fair, that wasn't the only shut up. Game 1, also Dokla is sitting there, and he's like, guys, we should just fight. We win no matter what. And then Inspired is like, dude, shut up. Hold on a minute. Just focus on the game. And in pros, this is the one thing that was, I think, a lot of people watch maybe for, but Inspired does say that this is pretty much just their culture in it. This is how they communicate with each other. They don't feel like it's tilting each other. That's just if they want someone to be quiet, they're just like, shut up. Hold on a moment. Let me speak, or let me do my thing.
Inspired did shut up immediately, so I mean, it's like he understood. Okay, this isn't the time to talk about it.
And then game 3, they came out. And
they came back. Yeah,
I kind of hate that attitude, because I feel like everybody says that, and then come Worlds, once you start getting the dog crap bit out of you, everybody gets tilted at each other, and we're like, why are we tilted at each other? Maybe it's because we said that was going to be our culture all year, and we actually were being mean to each other all year long and built up these frustrations, and then they all come out.
I feel though, with this roster, if Dokla does end up staying, I don't know about Castle, so I can't really say anything, but between Berserker, Inspired, and Saint, all 3 of them, just how big their egos are and everything like that, or just their personalities are, I feel like they could just say it and they just wouldn't care. As long as,
I think they're on that level of competitor where it's like
giant egos means that they won't care that they're being flamed by somebody.
Well, no, because
I think they just want you to be honest, in my opinion. That's the biggest thing from Inspired. We've talked about that in the past. Is he doesn't want to sugarcoat anything. They're all here to be the best, and they want to be honest with each other, because that's what ultimately you got to say the things that need to be said. You can't be scared to say those things, because the issues need to be called out. I agree there could be better timing to do it, but it's just their personality of wanting to put it out there, and they're all competitors, and there's just a point where you got to be okay with your teammate calling out your mistakes, because you got to work on them.
Yeah. And just telling them to shut up.
For me though, I don't want to be told what my mistake is in the middle of the game. We can wait until we're in the post game in the back where we can watch it back and like talk about our thought processes. But I don't think it's very helpful to be called out for your mistakes in the middle of a game that's still going on. Like, yeah, they're far behind and they're unlikely to win it, but it's like, let's focus on what's happening right now and then talk about the mistakes later.
I do think one thing, though, I actually think that Inspired thought that they still had a chance in the game because of how strong that Saint was at that time. Like, his whole thing was like, Saint, if you're going to be the guy that's carrying our team forward right now, you have to be the guy that's kind of making plays around the map for us. So I think Inspired felt like they still had a chance, and he was like, Saint, you're the guy that's like carrying right now. We need you to kind of make plays around what you're doing.
And technically, to play devil's advocate for him, like, if your focus is winning that game, like, saying it after actually is almost completely irrelevant. He's not going to be playing that champion again. We're gonna have to go through a whole early game when he's going to be back on not the driver's seat where he's not going to be there. So it's like, I can't see Davis's point of like, if you give that feedback, it could be the changing thing that wins you that last team fight. But clearly Saint didn't take it that way. So.
I think it was actually opposite when he was talking about it, because they were talking about that match, and I think Inspired actually said that they thought that match was just over. So he kind of went into a
review mode already.
Review mode, yeah. Like if we go into the next game, we have you on someone that's hyper carrying like this. This is what you.
Then definitely you shouldn't say it right there. You should just need to put like a 3-minute delay on that thought. Let it crunch in the back of your head for a second, and then bring it up with the coach. Maybe.
I don't remember if it was that or if they were talking about scrims, because they had like a lot of correlations on like why they do a lot of what they do on that team.
He did mention. I heard him talking. I think it was the interview after he said that they had talked about it in scrims before, this exact same thing. So.
Right. Hey, that's Inspired for you right now. So, but we're going to go ahead and move on to our next match, which was a really fun kind of grudge match here. We had Surdy coming back, but this time on Disguise playing against Dignitas. We all know how the Dignitas ended last year for him, and Disguise won, and it kind of keeps them in a little bit of a running right now.
Yeah, they had that very OP little dragon on their team, and it was doing a lot of work for them down in the bot lane.
I was surprised with how they were able to run over Dignitas, to be honest with you. I thought losing Castle, that might like shake their team up a little bit because he was like the heart and soul of them. But I mean, they came out and just kind of stomped Dig.
Don't underestimate Surdy, bro. He's a beast. They gave him the Scion, which was one of his best champions when he played last season or last year. And he did phenomenally. I mean, 14 assists, only 2 deaths. Like, he was a part of a lot of plays that really swung it in their favor. So I think this is amazing for Surdy. You know, debut on a new team. It's easy to have the jitters and like not do great, but
yeah, we'll see how next week goes. I mean, you beat up on the 0-5 team in one of the worst regions. Of course,
it's going to get harder from here, but this is the best way for him to have his debut. 100%.
Right? It could have been worse. Like, you know, beating them is much better than losing to them. Right. So, or losing a close match to them. So, looks good. I hope he keeps it going. And honestly, if this guy can keep some of the League is so weird, man. It's such a team-focused game, but then you can just slot someone in and out, and a team looks better. I'm always struggling to figure out where the line is there.
Yeah, and I'm also on that because it is Dignitas, and I'm not giving Dignitas any bit of, they're playing against someone else who just swapped out, you know, one of the best top laners in the league potentially, and comes them. I don't know, Dignitas, they had their whole little, I still have to watch like the whole thing, but their whole little AMA about what's been going on, because of what XU has been saying about the team culture. He doesn't even know if he wants to play after last split. Obviously, Dignitas can't escape this like horrible culture that they have. I know we're talking about some things happening within Lyon, but Dignitas is just bottom of the barrel right now of everything. And obviously it shows, you know, a team makes a change like this, that's a guest slot team, and then they just roll over you, and you're tough. Essentially, it's over now.
That's one of your most winnable matchups, and you get worked.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who got worked is Palafox. Palafox is to the point where I don't think he wins lane against any laner in the LCS now.
No.
I mean, like last year he had points where he was like actually looking like he was a pretty decent player, like he was making good plays, but this year he has been abysmal.
Yeah, we have not seen Pala Faker return, unfortunately.
All he needs to do is play against an NACL team, and he'll turn up. Like, I feel like that's the problem with Palafox is you want to replace him, but then he'll just destroy any other person from below him that you think you could replace him with. He's got that bottom slot freaking locked down.
Yeah. I kind of wish they just changed this, and Disguise became the partner team, and then Dignitas became the guest team, because I kind of want to see that, like, whether it's NRG, Conviction, whatever the ones that come out here, I want to see Dignitas play against them, because then that team has a better shot of actually getting into the league, because we see Disguise is willing to put in a little bit of effort to retain their slot, whereas Dignitas feels like they could be replaced by Energy right now, and it would be a net benefit for the whole league.
Maybe. I don't know if it would be. I don't think NRG is going to be competing for that high of a position in the LCS. I mean, this Dignitas roster, while they are 0-6, while I'm not giving DSG much credit for their win, it's not a terrible team. I mean, Photon's a great laner. There's some good spots in there. Like, I do still think that, like I said, I think Palafox, who's NRG's mid right now? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
Me neither. But whoever it is, I'm pretty confident. I would actually take Palafox in the 1v1 versus him. So, like, it's 50-50. It's tough. They feel bad because they've been bottom for so long, but at the end of the day, if you don't have access to these players in the top 4 teams, you're going to be a bottom team.
That's true.
Maybe NRG would spin for it, though, so who knows?
We'd have to see. I mean, I'm looking through the NACL teams right now, and mid laners are like, Spyrax and Buy Mini. There's a couple of uppercomers from like Maryville that I've seen. I mean, I think that they could go toe-to-toe with Palafox right now. He might be able to do a little bit better, and of course he'd look better against them, but
he's also got way better
if
reps.
we're looking at like these full teams though, I would much rather see like UG back in the league.
But
Kisno,
just give any of those mid laners the experience that Palafox has, and would they have surpassed him by now? Like,
I think so. I think Palafox is kind of falling off towards the deep end. Nothing much is going to save him going forward.
I do think he's on the deep end now. Like, he's on the fall off for sure. Like, I don't think there's any coming back from him.
I mean,
That's when he'll turn it around.
He might. I'm telling you, that would be sick.
When the world's against him, he's not going to turn around for long.
Yeah.
He'll just shock it. He'll just shock it, upset somebody.
One weekend to
like
shock
Sentinels,
the world.
dude. If you told me Palafox smurfs on Sentinels next week, I believe it. Like,
he does tend to turn up.
See it to believe it.
he's European. That's my theory. Is he's secretly European.
But that is one of the matches for next week. It will be Sentinels versus Dignitas. Dignitas, though, as Justin kind of said earlier, we'll have to see how they turn up because they have nothing to lose anymore. So they could just, maybe just throw the whole kitchen sink at Sentinels and see if they make it through. We have some other games, though, that are big. We do have Liquid versus C9. So another hard matchup for C9 going into this week. And then Liquid, a little bit of redemption, hopefully, for them.
This is a very important match. Battle for the top right now. I think everybody wants to get the 1 seed. That's going to give you the choice. When you look at how strong our top 3 are, TL, C9, and Lyon, presumably being able to choose either a FlyQuest or a Sentinels for your first round matchup would be a huge boon. And I think these matches are 100% going to determine it. Everybody's close right now. If C9 loses, everything comes down to how many maps is it? Is it 2 O's? Is it 2 1s? Exciting. This is going to be a sick final week.
And even that lower, like FlyQuest can get that win. That's massive for them to kind of get above Sentinels. And, they've been much better on land. Sentinels has been more of an online warrior team. Like they've kind of said that they do have a little bit of, struggles on land right now that they're trying to rectify, which they need to before EWC. But, they did make it, so they do have the potential. So we'll have to see. The other big one, though, kind of at that bottom is the Shopify Rebellion versus Disguise going into this. Yeah. Big matchup for both of those teams.
Yeah, 100%. Shopify definitely wants to make playoffs. They're going to need to win that match to end up making the playoffs. So, and obviously Disguise does too. And I think Disguise having the advantage in that, the fact that they have the 2-4 record versus the 1-5 for Shopify is huge for them. But can they hang on? We'll see.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, I feel like Shopify loses this. There's no chance the team sticks together, but that's just...
This is what... Well, I feel like we've said that a bunch, and then they lose, and then they still kind of vaguely stick together.
Well, this would be like they have the time now to make the change.
Did we talk about that last week on how Riven did say that he, if it's within his power, he will not change this team?
Oh, yeah, I do remember us saying that.
It may and it's something I do not agree with because I think this team or a couple of people on this team have the potential. Maybe if you change out contracts and fudge for someone... Maybe this team can boost up and this will really show up. But he was saying that he believes in this team. Not many other people do outside of maybe Shopify. But if they lose this match, they don't make playoffs, then, is he potentially on the chopping block as well?
I think that's just a PR statement. They're coming into a week with an important match. I want my coach to be saying things like that. If I'm the FlyQuest GM, if I'm Papa Smithy, I want him to say that. I mean, and let's be honest, it's Papa Smithy. Papa Smithy has control of this team.
It's not like
I'm completely wrong about Papa Smithy. Ignore me.
It's not like he's going to allude to a team change while they still have matches to play.
Yeah,
is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, because it's a nothing statement. I mean, he could know for certain that he has no control over it, and then he's being completely honest with that statement.
That's true.
It could
I'll
be,
do everything
which-
in my power to keep this team together.
That's true. Yeah, you got to read between the
Meanwhile,
lines
he's
on that statement.
just got no power at all.
I kind of hope it's the latter there because I think Shopify, when you bring in someone like Zini and you have B-Boy playing really well, you want them to kind of at least be contending for maybe 4 through 6 or maybe trying to hit into that top 3. And right now they're not doing it.
But this is a must win. This is like, I feel like you can forgive the rest of the struggles through the season. If you win this, the hopes of a peak little run through playoffs are still possible.
It's possible.
And I think like with the size of organization that Shopify is, the resources that they have, they expect to be making playoffs in any league that they're playing. And I mean, obviously you're big into Halo. They're the #1 team in Halo for a reason. And they're going to try to translate that in the league. They're not going to be okay with just missing playoffs.
This will probably be a hype week too. Ludwig does tend to co-stream the Shopify matches when they really matter, and he's free. And as far as I know, I don't think he has anything going on. So we could probably expect.
He just got done playing League, so
Yeah, and he's going to be playing tomorrow
still is.
also.
Yep.
Yeah, he has Annihilator Cup tomorrow, so he'll be
He's
all
in
the
league
knowledge
mode.
for league mode. Yeah, that'll be a fun stream to watch, good stream to watch. But we will go ahead and head over to Madrid now, where we had the road show in all its chaotic glory. Because I wish I had the Venn diagram of everyone pointing at each other, because that's pretty much how the weekend was.
Yeah, this was interesting. Some losses we maybe didn't expect. It was Koi lost to Giant X. Is that right? I know either KC
Sorry,
or Koi.
KC lost to him.
Casey, yep.
KC. Okay.
KC lost to them
Koi lost
in
to
that
them, yeah.
in that
And KC lost to
that
them, yeah.
final match of the week there, or it wasn't the final match, but it was after Giant X took the first map off them, which won Vitality the first seed.
Yep.
So then
That's
things
right.
kind of got a little
After they had
crazy
already
at the
lost
end
to
there.
G2 as well at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
G2 and Koi both
That's
had
what it
really
was.
good, yeah.
The G2 loss. Oh,
Right.
sorry, I just went Mike. The G2 loss put them into that tiebreaker
Right.
mode, and then the map loss to Giant X dropped them into that. Yeah.
I mean, it was a good weekend for both G2 and Koi. Koi kind of getting that last win against G2 at the end, but that puts them both into the top 4, because they were both having a little bit of struggles through the regular season leads up to now. And then after that first loss for Koi, you're just kind of wondering if, they're going to have a, weekend where they didn't do too well. And then they pull out, a nice little 2-1 against G2 at the very end, but G2 then just also destroying KC. Pandemonium.
Yeah, I mean, Giant X's win is massive, right? Because now that qualified them for playoffs, if they had lost that, I think they lose, right?
No,
or were they already
It was
guaranteed?
already all locked.
Correct, yeah.
A
It
lot
was
of
locked.
this
Oh, that's
was
right.
just playing for seeding through this weekend.
And also, it was huge because if they don't win that, they potentially go 0-6 in that Madrid arena. And there were a bunch of Giant X fans there.
were.
So I feel like that was a moment for them where it's like, if we do something big here, we secure those fans. If we 0-6 completely bomb out, we lose them. I mean, if I'm wearing a Giant X jersey and they go 0-6, I'm gonna go sell that
rough.
and buy an Imkoi jersey.
Just traded in. They're already sitting there at little trade-in posts. But I mean, we do see the rise of both those teams, Koi and G2 right now. G2, though, looked a little bit better, in my opinion, through the majority of the weekend. Had a little bit of faults in that last game against Koi. We finally saw Supa picking up a little bit at the end there, as we saw.
Supa was insane.
Yeah.
I thought he had a really good weekend. There's been talks about from the coaching staff of Koi possibly dropping a couple players, and I know his name was in the mix of that, and I think he showed this weekend, and he really needed to show this weekend as well, that he has the capability to carry games, and he did.
I was impressed by all of Koi. I felt like they smurfed really good. El Yoyo was like dominant.
Yeah.
He was
Yes.
engaging so good. I thought JoJo looked really good. I mean, he did get solo killed once or twice, but for some reason, every time it happens, they win the game. So it's
Yeah.
like at the certain point, it's like, cool, thanks, bro. Do it again.
Sacrifices his life for the team there.
Yeah, he's just a shield. He was just like tanking.
He was a
taking all the
Galio,
hate.
so yeah.
I mean, that Galio game was sick. Oh.
I do think he was in a tough position too against G2, even though they won the game. I think he obviously lost the battle against Caps in the mid lane laning phase wise. I think Caps had a little bit of a grudge being held there.
Yes.
With players saying like JoJo's the best player in the region. Caps is like, no, I'm going to show that I'm the best player in the region, even though they lost the series.
Not just in this series. I mean, I feel like all weekend Caps was
Caps was
smurfing
popping
against
off.
Giant X, dude. Like that Aurora solo kill onto Jackie's was just like, oh my god, bro. He smurfed it so hard, perfectly playing the ult under the tower, not taking like any damage. Caps was on one.
Caps definitely had a great weekend. But I think you're exactly right. There's been a lot of talk, okay, who's the best player in the league? And everyone's been saying JoJo, and Caps is like, let me remind you who I am, and came in and played
One
phenomenally.
thing, actually, you go first because I think you want to say.
I was going to say, I think they had a little bit of a buff. So Loya, Merwin, and Alvaro, I think, were all named for the Spanish or the Spain national team for for ENC. Maybe that was like a good little buff going into it. We haven't heard anything on Super just yet, so I'm wondering if they're still thinking about it. And of course,
JoJo's parents were in. I think JoJo's parents came to Spain to watch him play and stuff too. So that was also, it's weird. I saw in the mic check they said it. I don't know if that was some sort of like an inside joke where like parents means something else. Like I don't know if they're saying Caps is his daddy or something, but
What?
Well, it's Mother's Day, right? So
It was Mother's Day.
That's
maybe
true.
they flew him up.
that makes sense. And I mean, it's a great excuse for a Spanish vacation. So
Very
I
true.
can't blame. We should also talk about the bit of controversy from this weekend, the pause, the chrono break that was not awarded to G2 with the reasoning that it wouldn't have had a big enough impact on them.
Right. And again, this is we talked about chrono breaks a little bit last year, so we had a couple, and it's always the strangest, like, I don't know, reasonings for behind them a lot, whether it goes through or doesn't. And of course, you're sitting there with this pause that's already gone on for like way too long, and then there's like, well, guess what? We're not awarding, and you're just kind of like, okay, well, not all the players are cold. Some players are upset because of what's going on, and
Skumond was mega tilted. I couldn't tell watching it live that was the case, but in the mic check, like you can literally see him like full on raging. Between the next game, he's like, we are not going to talk about what happened earlier or I'm going to crash out. Like, it was honestly, I was like, he's not handling this well.
no, I mean, who would? At that point,
I mean, if you fully think that it broke the game and then you have people that aren't even inside the game being like, no, this actually didn't affect anything, you got to be like, dude, you're literally sitting up in office watching. You
What
have
is
no
this
clue what
subjective judgment of how
who has
important
the
a
ability
bug
to make that?
change will do? Because it's literally like an Ornn. It was the Ornn E into the wall. Doesn't knock up the AD carry like in the middle of an important late game team fight. Like that does make a big difference.
Every time I see something chrono break, I always think of something BAR, and this may only resonate with Davis here a bit, but I mean, so many times we're watching BAR in soccer and you're just like, what? How is that not called, or how is that called? And the same thing happened here, and I'm just like, are they getting the same refs to do this from behind the scenes? Are they pulling them over? Because this doesn't make any sense, and you know, I would be on that same wavelength. I would probably crash out if we talked about it too much also.
It's a good experience, I think, to get this for Skumond and like kind of deal with this at the Madrid Roadshow, because this could be something you experience in LEC finals at an international event. Like, I mean, a riot judge could make this ruling at any time, and to get the experience in a match that technically doesn't matter so much, it's not a biggest deal that they ended up losing it. It's good for them in the long term. I'm sure the G2 coaching staff, some of the best coaching staff in the world, will help him learn from this.
For sure.
KC, though, unfortunately, we did talk about it a little bit, but because of their losses, did end up dropping, though, to second place, which means Vitality is moving up to first. But KC came into this road trip with a lot of hype behind them, and unfortunately just fell off a bit. Not the best showing from them.
Yeah, even we kind of predicted they might go like 3-0 this weekend, but I mean, G2, I think, just kind of stepped up. I don't know if it was more Carmine Corp playing bad or G2 just playing like at their full power, which we know their full power is insane once they're hitting every skill shot and perfectly macroing constantly. I think it was just more G2 dominating.
Land buff for G2 is insane right now.
Yeah.
I actually kind of, it's not in their control. I'm sure they didn't get together with the schedulers and be like, hey, schedule 6 of our games on the same weekends. But I just don't like how their whole season unfolded. And we talked about that too a few episodes back, how if you have a bad weekend, if you lose, like they didn't lose the first game, they won their, or no, they did lose their first game in G2. And that probably got in their head a little bit. They did bounce back and win the next series, but we talked about how if all 3 of your games are in one weekend, you're playing every single day, and you start out bad, what does that do for your next 2 games? Like, you don't have a chance to reset. It's like if you play one game a weekend, like over in the LCS, it's like you have a full week to kind of reset from that game versus you're literally playing the next day and again the next day.
Dude, and I mean, potentially the most important match of your season is played on a Friday early with barely anybody in the stage. Like, I mean, that can't be the most, like, if you're expecting to play G2, like, season on the line, essentially, you're expecting it to be an insane environment, and instead they got kind of a church just because, I mean, people obviously meme on that every single event when an early game goes on, but it's unavoidable. But it still affects KC in a really tough way.
The crowd showed out for Saturday and Sunday.
They did.
They did. No complaints about the crowd in this for me. But on that point, I do feel like it's always a bit of a, leaves like a sour taste in my mouth when a team wins the LEC like Team Vitality has, but they're not even playing in this final week. It's like, it doesn't even feel like you can, like, there's a moment for someone to celebrate. So
Yeah, I was kind of...
But I guess they didn't win the LEC. They just got first seed of the regular season. So
yeah. And speaking of Team Vitality, they did do it, even though they didn't have to play. And they've been up and down going into this, though. But they do hold the first seed for playoffs, which means that they should have technically had a better pool. But now when you're looking at 2, 3, 4, which is G2, KC, and Koi, I mean, that's still rough for you no matter which way you look at it right now.
Yeah. Huge achievement for a team that's new to the LEC, a team of players looking awesome.
I mean, Knock stocks have consistently risen through this entire year. I mean, I actually followed his stream recently. He's been streaming a lot. He's got a lot of viewers that are watching him, trying to study what is this guy doing that makes him so good. And I can't wait to see what he does in playoffs. I hope that they can ride this momentum. I think that not playing this last weekend is maybe a little bit of a hurt to them. You know, they're not as warm as the rest of these guys.
They got to stay at home, though, and chill and relax. Didn't have to travel.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be good or bad.
And their first matches against MKOI.
Yes.
So that, I mean, the first 2 round 1 matches are going to be insane. KC, G2, and Vitality MKOI.
And the playoffs are kind of interesting because they actually switched the schedule midweek this week. So originally
big drama around this.
Yeah, and this was originally supposed to be Vitality and MKOI as the first match, which you would kind of expect it as well. You'd expect the first seed to play the first day, and then maybe have that rest day, you know, as a part of, you know, them getting first seed before playing their next match. Now, if they win, they'd have to play back-to-back matches.
Correct. The reason that Riot did switch this is because apparently Kometo has some sort of a obligation. He's doing some sort of like a streamer soccer match with the Sidemen. I don't think he's playing. He's probably just covering it, like co-streaming it. And he's doing that on Sunday. So they've just moved it so he'll be able to co-stream the match on Saturday. And some of the Vitality players took to Twitter. They took offense to this. It was Linkus saying that this feels unfair. You know, if they were the first seed, they should have the boon of winning and being the team that gets that bye that doesn't have to play 2 days in a row.
I think that's crazy as well. I mean, obviously the Sidemen charity match is like a thing, but
it's not the full match too. It's like the 11. It's like some sort of like post charity match All Stars thing. It's not the big one, but
because they had the Sidemen charity match already, right? Yeah.
But like, I mean, at the end of the day, you're contracted. You're a contracted player to the LEC. Like, this is what you can do, these cool events whenever you have the opportunity and time outside of games. If you have a game scheduled for that point, sorry, you can't go do this extracurricular activity.
The only thing I think for competitive integrity, it should definitely be Vitality gets to play first. The one thing I'm not sure about is like if we go back and look at the history of these LEC bracket finals and stuff, like they might have been doing this for a while, like to get. I mean, the whole way this whole season was scheduled is like, what are we talking about competitive integrity? We're giving Carmine Corp 6 matches in the final 2 weeks. So if they've been doing this for years, it's not a huge deal. I 100% agree with Linkus. Competitive integrity, you earn that right. You should get some sort of an advantage, even a minimal one, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to let if the LEC needs to bring it to the big boys, I mean, they're hurting for money. So
I just think it's crazy the fact that they're moving the game because of some outside factor affecting, like this player, whoever can't attend the match because he's doing a charity
not even a player.
Player.
Yeah. Is he the CEO? It's like eBay basically. Right. It's like if and he just gets such a big following that it's a big deal to them. So
that's insane. That's insane.
I don't know. Vitality, you come out of nowhere, you do well, then this happens, I'd be pissed. And right now, unfortunately, nothing can change it, so we'll have to see how they play out. Koi also looking kind of good, so I think it should be a good matchup. Of course, the KC versus G2, we'll have to see if that's a repeat, because if not, KC might be jumping down a little bit early if G2 gets that buff. We know how they have been so far in playoffs, looked absolutely good, and if Caps is going to bring that level he brought from Madrid back over to these playoffs, I just foresee them taking first place right now.
I mean, last playoffs, the G2 went undefeated. They actually beat KC in the early goings 2-0 and then met them again in the finals. And it was 3-2. That was the crazy series that the last game was like an hour long. That was one of the craziest ones of the year so far. So I don't know. Could be fireworks, honestly.
Could definitely see that happen. Honestly, with those two teams, I could see it going either way. If I could see G2 stomping them and then beating them in the finals again, or KC beating them, sending them down, and then we see that matchup in the finals again. I do think that these are the two best teams. I think Vitality's awesome, but when they run into a big dog like one of these two guys in the playoffs, I think the run will end.
So remember, though, we do have one more full week before any of this chaos takes off anyways.
We got a break week?
Yeah, we do have a break week. I think this is where we're going to start seeing more of those EWC
I can go see the sun again.
Flyers, yeah, because they don't play again until the 23rd. So we have a little while to go for that one. So we'll talk a little bit more about it when it comes up. But let's talk about some of the big stories across League of Legends. And we're going to start with Jynxzi's tournament. That was just pretty much pure cinema.
It really
we had
was.
some good plays. We had some really weird moments. We had silver scrapes coming out for the first time for a lot of people to watch. What are y'all some favorite moments?
I mean, seeing Moist Critical pop off on the Mordekaiser 12-0 in that game, that was fun, just becoming an unkillable beast. I mean, I'm a fan of Moist in general, so it was cool to see him. There was just so many funny moments. Obviously, the Marlon clips, we got to talk about Marlon.
Yeah.
Just poor guy, man.
First drool pouring out of his mouth, brain fully melting while playing Malphite.
Like,
The easiest
press
champion.
R, and then he R's literally a centimeter. Like, oh my.
I think one of my favorite moments was actually kind of like outside of League. It was the clip of Jynxzi and Tyler One talking about like outside of League stuff. They were talking about their like humble beginnings, and Jynxzi how he like grew up sharing a bed with his brother because they couldn't afford stuff. Jynxzi's brother is the one who was big into League, which is kind of motivated him very recently to get into it. And like Tyler One's not the kind of guy to like genuinely bond with somebody over something like that, but like you could tell that they were bonding, which is probably him just being softer in his dad era and stuff a little bit too.
Yeah.
But I really feel like those two are like past and present. Like it's so fun seeing them interact.
They look like they could be brothers too. I mean, like the same exact like archetype of a human being, except I don't know.
That was some of my favorite moments too, was the casting that they were doing with those two and Dantes. That was like the best thing. It's like you would have Dantes and Tyler One like actually having like knowledge about what's happening. They're calling out abilities, they're calling out this and that. And then next thing you know, Dantes just yells at Jynxzi, "Jynxzi, make it hype! Like, Jynxzi's like, he just died! It's over!" It was just funny.
It's also his wheels are trying to turn. Like, he did ask some really good questions on like, what he's watching. Like, is this, what does this mean here if they do this? Or like watching some of the plays and trying to figure out like if it's good or bad for teams. And of course, you have like people trying their best, especially in that last. It's so funny that they played Fearless at the very end for it. And I think definitely better strategy coming out of XQC's team to make that swap there. Unfortunately, Sneaky's team a little underwhelming on their champion pool, but I think it was a fun tournament all around, and I think it opened up that people are really willing to watch kind of these lower level games that are just pure entertainment, which got me thinking, I wish we had All-Stars back, even if it wasn't like a pure like top teams coming out, but maybe you pull some of the teams that don't go to Worlds and stuff like that, or players who aren't going to ENC, and you pull them for an All-Stars match. So I think that would just still be a ton of fun to watch, and you bring in entertainment like Jynxzi, Tyler One, Dantes, and it could be fun.
Yeah, 100%. I actually missed the old All-Star format when they would do the 1v1 tournament. Like whenever you would see like Faker versus Bjergsen 1v1ing on ARAM, that would be like one of the best moments of the weekend. And just having the 1v1 tournament, I think that would be sick.
I'm kind of torn because like I feel like some of the magic of this is just a one-off thing. It's just like thrown together. Like I feel like anytime Riot puts something together, there's so much planning and polish that you just don't get these moments. Like you wouldn't get Tyler One and Dantes like casting together and like them like during a pause just completely rage baiting each other back and forth. Like it just you can't get that same magic. And I feel like if it was reoccurring, if it was something super official, you just don't have it.
Yeah,
I guess. Because I still like the Red Bull events that they were putting out. Like, well, Oyster Trains was putting out a little bit beforehand. Like, those were still a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, AT&T and Nylayers Cup, I still like watching that as well because you still get the mix of some decent players and some not so decent players. So you still get a lot of the fun, random moments that are going to crash out. But I still miss like All-Stars, and maybe that's just nostalgia hitting me because you have that. You had like all the regions playing together, players who'd never played together ever are playing. And if you threw something like Arena into it now, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, one of the other fun moments that I liked a lot was like Dante's making Jynxzi give his team a speech and like playing. They're like screen sharing like a scene from, was it Attack on Titan or something?
Yeah,
and
one of the anime. I saw that.
That part was amazing. I mean, Dante's like, say what you will about him, he knows how to make some good content.
Oh, yeah. He's been, I think, the big winner. I think he definitely, obviously, Jynxzi grew the most. The numbers of followers that he gained from this tournament were
10 million
crazy.
followers.
But I think Dantes made an impression on a ton of people and could be setting himself up for a really, really successful outside of league streaming career. There were so many really great moments from him. He was coaching well, setting up moments in really clever ways. You can tell he's got good comedic timing.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's a little weird and dumb.
A little
sure.
He's a little crazy.
But people, I think, resonate with that. Like that's who people. That's who the gamers are. Like league gamers, Dantes is them. He's the
especially
stereotypical
for the amount of people they're pulling in there. Of course, the first timers ever watching it, and they don't know too much. So when you have someone like that, and they're like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, or oh, they're making it hype there. It definitely makes it a lot more fun for that tournament. I had a lot of fun watching it. I was like stayed a little bit behind work to try to watch it, but then I think I was watching mostly through Sneaky's point of view and through like all of his teams.
Sneaky was a good POV for sure.
He didn't crash out too much.
He was like the most calm, cool, collected like captain you could ask for, and he was like really making plays to get them to finals.
He tried. I like all the other captains though. Like, Tyler one was funny. Imru though was also really funny.
Yeah, Imru
was like, I have to kill. Like, I forgot who she was going after, but she was like making sure she was like trying to kill like one
double
person.
lift.
Yeah, double lift.
She was kind of frying double lift actually.
Dude, that Tyler one clip after the tournament of him just like mauling because Onipixel would like refuse to stay under tower was just so funny. He's like, dude, you're on 100 ping. Why are you going up and fighting every single time?
Yeah, I saw that.
Man.
It was a good time.
Poor Onipixel, man.
Fourth most watched tournament so far. Behind, I think it was like 2 LCK matches in first stand. So we'll have to see how that stands coming up with MSI and everything. But a lot of fun. We're going to move on though because we have a lot more to announce. And speaking of Korea, they are back in the ENC. They have come to terms, or KESPA has come to terms with the Esports Foundation, and they have come back. They are now allowed to make their own selection of their team without any outside whispers in their ear. So we will potentially see a new super team coming into ENC now.
Yeah, I mean, this just flipped the tournament from potential Mickey Mouse tournament to Tier 1 like instantly with this one release. So I don't know, huge dub for ENC, I would say. I don't think KESPA really needed this, but it'll be cool to see the best region in the world actually competing in a tournament that's about regions in the world, right? So it would have been a huge loss if they weren't there.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, the Esports Nation Cup does not have any bargaining power when compared to freaking KESPA. Like, I mean, Monte Cristo came out and was like, if the Saudis think that they can out-stubborn the KESPA, like they have a long history of decision makings and stuff that they're choosing to completely ignore. So, like, yeah, they were never going to win that. If they didn't bend to what KESPA wanted, we weren't going to see any Korean players. So,
and I think they would have lost a significant amount of viewership as well. I mean, people want to see the best in the world compete. It'll be cool for people to like tune in and root for their countries and stuff, but I mean, the whole world wants to watch Korea play. So,
yeah, and if we had missed out on Korea, China, and some of the other Asian countries,
China's still not in though, right?
Yeah, they are not in right now. So that's already giving like a really big boost to who we're probably going to see in first place, which is Korea. Because I've been taking a look at some of the rosters coming out for the European nations, and even though they have probably one of the best regions as a whole, when you look at all the countries individually, there's still some parts you're like, who's that player? If you're not watching.
I mean, it would be like if America had to do like a state thing, like, all right, let's get the 5 best players from Idaho. Like, you know what I mean? It would, who would it even be?
Yeah, so we'll have to see.
Some ballers in Idaho.
Yeah. I mean, my bad. If anyone from Idaho's watching, my bad, bro. Post your ELO in the comments.
With a potato.
We'll have to see. So it's good that they're back in, but we're going to move on now to a little bit more news of resurgence of some teams. We have the NLC, sorry.
There we go. You always mess that one. I was ready for it. I was going to get you.
Nah, thank you for that one. But NLC is back.
Good job.
Yes, they are back, and they haven't announced any dates yet, but they do have a new tournament organizer, and hopefully this time it sticks.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this, to be honest.
Awesome. I hope Game Waves does good. I saw the tweet from the guy whose name, it was super Swedish name. He said they're open to new stuff, or they're open to any like feedback and stuff. They wanted people to reply to this original tweet. I know they got a bunch of replies. You can see 18 down at the bottom there. But they've also immediately gotten into some drama. They posted about like an open document for people wanting to cast and stuff. And then some of the previous casters were like offended by that. They were like, we are the casters. We've been here the whole time. Why did you not even reach out to us? Why are you just putting out an open tweet? So who knows? At the end of the day, this is a league within a league within a league. If Los Ratones is not in it,
right, then it
I kind of don't care.
kind of falls a little bit.
Hopefully they get things back.
Yeah, because LFL has been kind of running a little bit of that. I think EMEA, right? In the Galleons from so we'll have to see. Maybe as long as they can have some decent teams, we can have some more potential of better EMEA games. It is good though that they're not completely falling off because we do know some of the other tier 2 in Europe have been also kind of hitting a decline. Funding's just not there. They're just not able to get out the product that they want, and then Riot's pulling whatever other additional funding they have from it, and it kind of sucks.
This is definitely a scary time for the ERL scene.
Yeah.
People aren't sure what it's going to look like in the coming years. Will it need to be like adapted into some sort of like an LEC tier 2? Because a lot of the smaller leagues like NLC, like just some of the big ones that aren't LFL, they're struggling to survive. And I don't know what you're going to do about that. That was a very core European thing.
Right.
Like that was one of the things that European people would brag about when talking about how awesome League is in their region, is the fact that they have such a bountiful tier 2 scene. And if it falls apart, that could be a big hit to
then they start looking like the NACL, which is not a pretty picture at the moment. And we've had actually a lot of talent that's going over to a lot of those teams across the seas. And if that falls off, they could potentially harm a little bit more of what's going on over here.
What's funny is that's probably also a sign of bad times for Europe. Like, to us, it's awesome that American players are going over there and making a name for themselves. But I'm sure if you're European, you're like, dude, there's like 8 good teams in the EMEA, and 4 of them now have American mid laners. So where are our slots supposed to go? That probably feels really bad to them.
Yeah, but that's a problem that every region faces, right?
Yeah. Welcome to our life. We're the LCS, bro. We
got more Koreans.
We are the minority in our region
than we have Americans by a wide margin.
The only one that doesn't have to worry about that is LCK. Korea's fine on their own little island over there.
Those are what we call in the economic world. I'm a business guy. Recession indicators.
Yes, that's true.
Very nice. But
I'm not actually a business guy. But I feel like we're all inwardly laughing at that because I'm not a business guy at all. But the viewers have no idea.
And they had no idea. You could have passed it off.
True.
But we're going to talk about some other business decisions in fantasy and see how everyone's weeks played out. And Riot's making some bad business decisions on their end with somehow they're giving out some of the points here. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll go ahead and throw up this week's points. Not a clinker out in first, which I am going to call shenanigans on.
Not a businessman, not a clanker.
But
true.
You had a good choice on picking Thanatos there, because if you picked Dokla or Castle, you got the other player that you didn't pick.
So funny.
I ended up getting Castle on my fantasy for only 2 points, but he got Dokla and he got
I picked
9 at
Castle.
least.
I got 9.
It's so funny. You say it's good I picked Thanatos. Thanatos had a terrible week. I got 7 points from him. But since he functioned correctly, we still did better than you guys. Turns out the 2 Riot software developers that are allocated to handling LCS fantasy, they couldn't account for this. Which, I mean, I don't blame them. If there's only 2 of you working on it, then that's crazy.
There is a little pop-up that shows up, and it's like, it shows that it happened. Dokla was automatically subbed in as this team's top laner because the player for this role, Castle, did not play this round. But they both played, so it's like, how hard is it to just give them each individual point?
You know how happy I was before this bug ended up showing up, because I have Dokla on there and it's showing him at 17 points. I'm like, I had to get another good week again, almost 150 points. I'm getting back up there. And then I check yesterday and it's like Castle 2.
I don't know, man.
Riot, if y'all need help with it, we've got some crazy engineer nerds here. One of them designed an F1 fantasy thing that works flawlessly. We got a bunch of non-coding nerds who will test it out for you. Let us know. We'll make LCS fantasy great.
Let's put Tanner on it, and then that way he starts always putting his score at the best you can get.
He's just maxed out every week.
Vibe coders.
Imagine the nastiest lethality Scion player you've ever seen coding fantasy for you. Dream come true.
But the standings so far, keeping me at the top though, so pretty good. Davis,
we're not going to catch you, Chris. Do something crazy. You need to do something crazy in this final week.
I mean,
28
points isn't that bad, It's within.
The problem is Chris hasn't had bad weeks. Like we were looking at his. I was looking at. Maybe we'll see it when the team thing comes up. But he hasn't had a score less than 130. Like he's averaging 140 or something each week, which is just insane.
That is insane.
Well, we'll start with Davis though. He'll let us know who
my team first. Okay, I went with Surdy. I think he's playing against Dignitas, so I got some confidence in him. I think he'll play good again. Hambach, I think they're pretty much going to smurf Sentinels. So I did him and the coach for Sentinels, and then I have Saint mid lane, Berserker, ADC, 2 great players, and Vulcan as well.
Are those the 3 most expensive mid bot support? I think I know Saint and Vulcan are. I can't remember where Berserker is.
All 3 of those are the most expensive.
Surdy must have been pretty cheap.
Yeah, Surdy's super cheap.
Which I think is
and Golden Glue is also
a good call there.
Yep.
Makes sense. Okay, I guess we're doing mine next. So I had Thanatos in the top lane, got Anivia. I'm expecting some weird flex stuff going on. Hambach was actually pretty cheap as well. I want to say he was only like 11 points or maybe it was 15, something like that. Zinni, I just think that there's no pressure on them to win anymore. So I think that when you're the new guy and you have no pressure on you, it's easier to perform. So
I think he's got a good matchup.
And he's got a good
definitely
matchup.
stronger there.
Yeah, so I think he might actually pop off. And then, of course, the Lyon bot lane has been impeccable. So that's going to be an easy one. And then I just took the whole Golden Glue Sentinels. Yeah.
I actually misspoke too. I'm going to go back for mine. Surdy is actually playing. They're playing Shopify.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he would smurf on Pudge.
Sentinels, I think, is
That's
playing.
still a good call, right?
Sentinels and Dignitas.
Yeah. So that's why I have Hambach and Golden Glue, because they're playing the worst team.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to mine. I made a few changes. I did put Impact at the top there because they are playing Dignitas, and I think overall he's just going to do fine, even if he doesn't do well in lane. Yeah. It's going to probably do okay. Hambach, same thing. I've been actually more impressed with Hambach as the season has gone on.
He's a beast.
He's doing a lot better. Yeah. Saint, hopefully he gets the rise this time instead of the top lane. Berserker keeping that, and then Core JJ I'm going to pick up. So I think he's going to do well versus C9, but I think overall C9 is going to do well as a team, so I picked up Anira.
Did you have a lot of leftover budget with this roster?
That's a very good question.
Because I feel like this might, just by looking at it, I think that's the weakest roster you've picked all year.
6.2 is my remaining budget.
That's crazy. That's wild. I think it's a good choice because Sentinels could pop off and destroy Dignitas, and both of those guys could put up big numbers against them. Let's go to mine next. I have some of these guys as well. Up in the top lane, I've got 32. I'm picking Jayce. Looked at his solo queue profile. Only thing he's been playing is Jayce, so taking a chance with that. Scouting. Then I got the number 1 jungler, Jose Diodo. Big dog. Big fan of this guy. And then I get 2 big, Lion, big Saint, dogs. And Berserker. Yep. Cryogen also. The classic cheap player, big points. And then I'm on the Golden Glue, Sentinels as a whole hype train.
It's a strong roster.
There was a world where I was going to throw all my chaos into the wind and go all Sentinels here because I felt like they could dominate Dignitas, but just the potential of getting a low amount of points if, like I said, Dig pops off against them.
Halifax just shows
and then
up.
I go down to last place. I'm losing to Tanner or something. I couldn't resist. I couldn't risk that.
Speaking of Tanner, let's go ahead and see what he has to do. Our 2...
The proxy god. Tanner, wow, good deck.
Be his name next
That's
time.
A fire.
Next season.
That's a pretty strong full variety buff roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seos is a solid pick from a weak team, and Disguise, like we said, playing against Shopify. So.
And he's had Jax as his top lane pick every single time, hasn't he? Has anyone actually hit it yet?
But he has to hit that 1.7 though. So he has to pick those big.
The Braum for
multipliers.
Seos is interesting. Mm-hmm. I feel like no one plays Braum anymore.
No, especially not with Lucian. Everybody's running enchanters with Lucian now, so it's an off hit, which might mean he gets big points. I love the option of choosing a support on a team that you expect to lose, because sometimes these supports just chill in the back.
So they die one time.
Yeah, I think that
15 assists.
Cryogen in one of the games they lost to C9 was 0-0 and 14. I was like, that's awesome.
Great.
Heck yeah, best of both worlds.
All right, so Big Pat over here. Let's see what he has. Another full variety, I believe, on his as well. And he's somehow pulled out pretty good teams no matter what he's done.
I thought about picking Call Me.
Very similar team here.
But yeah, I ended up going the
not similar
route.
to me at all. I didn't have a single one in common.
Similar to Tanner.
Darklings and Call Me are the 2 switches, I think. And then Core for Seos.
Yeah.
No Sentinels players.
The mid support.
So that's where he's missing is the Sentinels. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm telling you, Dignitas going to smurf on him. Pat's going to be smiling. We're going to be crying.
Pat's been having some pretty good weeks here.
Yep. Palafox, I'm telling you, he's going to watch our video, see y'all talking all that junk, and decide to just...
Y'all, you're the one talking the junk.
No,
we have been talking this junk.
Only when I picked the only junk I
We
talked
have
was when
a short on this channel of you
this
saying
year.
that you're the biggest Palafox hater.
Yes. Yes, but that was when he was riding high. When he's down low, I then support him
pulling for
again.
Oh, okay.
Well,
It's a complicated relationship me and
unsupported
Palafox
this
have.
whole entire year, and he hasn't popped off yet. So I don't think the last week of Split 2 is going to make any difference.
Maybe he was waiting for them to get fully eliminated from
Ah,
playoffs. for
okay.
him.
So
Now he's
that's
going to
solid.
turn up.
He is the IRL version of the 0-0. What's the 0-10-0 Yasuo buff? That's
Yeah.
the Yasuo buff. That's the IRL version of
The 0 and 10 power spike.
That's crazy.
0-6. It's time.
It's close.
That's where the 06 came from.
He's close.
Well, you let us know what you think about that. Is Palafox going to pop off or not? We can only wait and see this weekend. But thank you all for joining us today. We will come back with all League of Legends stuff next week. See y'all next time.
Bye.